Well, hey there, folks. I'm meteorologist Matt Barentine. Helene is now a hurricane. So we anticipated a rapid intensification with the storm, but it's even beating the very aggressive forecasts for intensification by becoming a hurricane this early here on our Wednesday morning. It was expected to become a hurricane later today, but this thing is it is just blowing up, and it is going to become an absolute monster of a storm, not just in power, but in size as well. It is going to be huge in overall coverage. It'll be a very large hurricane like Katrina was. So this is going to be, obviously just a terrible situation as this bears down on Florida. And here's that 3D imagery of it. You can see it's really built up overnight last night and this morning. It's really basically there's no brakes on this one right now. It is full on growing and intensifying. And it's currently right now, as we get to, we're doing the 10 a.m. update here. And we just got in from the Hurricane Center. And it is just now crossing into the very southern part of the Gulf. So it's just kind of on the edge there, going through the Yucatan Channel. Winds of 80 miles an hour as of 10 a.m. So it is a Category 1 hurricane. So it's just beginning its growth into a hurricane. It's moving to the north-northwest at 10 miles an hour. There is a little bit more of a northerly bend now in the forecast track, or in the actual track, I should say. And in the forecast track, really, here's the good thing, I guess, for our area is that nothing has changed. There's been no big shift to the west or anything like that. The only thing they've done to the forecast path here is narrowed it down. It's still on the western edge is Panama City, which is where it's been for the last 24 hours or so, maybe even longer than that. And the eastern edge of it is over around Steinhatchee, Florida. The center would go pretty much almost through Tallahassee. This is going to be a very destructive storm. They have it as a Category 3 at landfall. It could be stronger than that. I mean, it's going to have the opportunity. It's already a Category 1 now, and it's got a full day and a half to continue to develop over very warm waters before it makes landfall. So it could very well go even higher. Here's the Futurecast model. Put this into motion as we look at this crossing into the Gulf of Mexico, growing monstrous in size, and it'll be huge. I mean, it should spread basically from tip to tip in Florida in size dimensions, and it'll continue tracking up towards the west coast of Florida and then make landfall Thursday evening, once again likely as a high-end hurricane, a major hurricane, and it's going to spread destruction far and wide since it's going to be such a large storm. Now, our area, a few rain bands are possible in the eastern parts of our viewing area, but beyond that, some rip current issues. That's it for us. We're on the good side, so to speak, of the storm, and it's far enough to the east where we won't see any really significant impacts for us across the area. Now, I'm also concerned not just with where it makes landfall. I'm also very concerned with what happens as this thing moves inland, because when it's charging itself up over those very warm waters of the Gulf, it's going to be picking up a ton of moisture. And like I said, this is going to be a very large storm. So it's going to be able to spread a lot of moisture, a lot of rain far and wide. And once that rain hits, those mountains in North Georgia and South Carolina and North Carolina, it's going to squeeze out even more of that rain. Then it's got to funnel down through the valleys into streams and brooks and all that. It is going to be an absolute mess up there. And a lot of this will be happening during the morning commute on Friday up there around Atlanta and Columbia, South Carolina. And they could be seeing some major flash flooding issues. I mean, and that could be as deadly as anything else that happens with this system. So it is going to be very, very bad on the roads. And we know millions of people live in the greater Atlanta area, and Chattanooga and Columbia and Asheville, all those areas up there are going to be inundated by massive amounts of rainfall. So here's some of the other models. I just wanted to show you that there's been no big shift to the west. We don't anticipate that because we have a front moving into our area. So that's going to keep it from coming our way. It's not going to make any big shift. But you can see basically all the models now run it really through about the Apalachicola area. Carabel is probably a little more likely. Carabel, but boy, that would mean basically a direct hit on Tallahassee, getting the worst side of the hurricane. And with it being as strong as it'll likely be, Category 3 or 4, and moving fairly quickly. That means hurricane force winds all across the city of Tallahassee, which would mean massive destruction. The town is full of trees. I mean, that's where I'm from. I know it well. There's trees everywhere in Tallahassee, more so than even our area. And even a weak storm can knock down a lot of trees and create major power problems. Boy, they may be out of power for a long time in Tallahassee. It's going to take a long time to clean up that kind of mess. All right, so here's the graph model. Now, the graph model is one that's a little bit more to the east. So it brings it in more around Steinhatchee. I think it's probably a little off. It's probably going to be a little farther west where it makes landfall. But you could just take these numbers and just kind of move them off a little farther to the west. So you can see triple-digit wind speeds, Steinhatchee and Cedar Key, 127, jeez. And then making landfall somewhere there. And then you can see the difference when the eye goes by. Watch Madison there, it's 107 there with the wind speeds, 127 in Live Oak. And then the eye goes by, and look at Valdosta, only at 31 miles an hour, while Live Oak, Fargo, Madison are all above hurricane strength. So, and once again, if this goes, 50 miles to the west, just take all those numbers and just move them a bit more off to the west. Just absolutely destructive there. Hurricane warning, obviously, for the Florida Big Bend region. There's also a tropical storm warning offshore of our area, but not onshore, because we do not expect tropical storm force winds here. It's only offshore. And the storm surge, this is going to be a major problem too, because they call it the Big Bend region of Florida, and it's called the Big Bend because it bends around. And when that storm surge starts getting pushed into that area, it has nowhere to go. It's going to get trapped. So they give it like a big catcher's mitt there, and it's going to catch all that storm surge. And this area is very low-lying, and that storm surge will be able to push, in some cases, miles inland. This is going to be an absolute disaster here. Last year with Idalia, Cedar Key had record storm surge, and it was 9 feet. The forecast is for 10 to 15 feet in Cedar Key this time around. It is going to be, just completely destructive to this area. And then there's the rainfall. Like I was mentioning, this has got me really worried too. You can see that bright yellow around Atlanta. That's the 10 to 15 inch range on the rainfall. And that won't fall over several days. That's over several hours. Just a few hours, 10 to 15 inches of rain, washing down through the roads, washing into ditches, washing into streams. You can just imagine. And doing that all during the morning commute on Friday is going to be an absolute disaster as far as that is concerned too. Like I said, that could be as deadly as any other part of the storm. With folks having to, you got 1 million folks on the road up there in Atlanta while that much rain is coming down. I hope that a lot of businesses and schools wait out the storm, maybe open up later that day, have schools go in at 10 a.m. instead of 7 a.m. Even a few hours will likely make a real difference up there. So hopefully that's the things they're thinking about. Unfortunately, we don't really think about enough what happens inland. And when a storm this strong, there's going to be, and this large, there's going to be significant inland problems. Now, once again, the reason why all the models keep bending it off to the northeast corner of the Gulf of Mexico and don't bring it up our way is because of that front and some things in the upper levels of the atmosphere. There's an upper level trough that's associated with the surface front. But just be aware that there's a front coming. That's going to help to push it off to the east. There's the rain. We do have a few showers. The showers we get today, there'll be some scattered about for your Wednesday. Nothing to do with the storm. It's just scattered showers out ahead of our front. Our highs today will be 90-ish. Upper 80s, right around 90, depending on where you're at. The beach forecast, obviously, we're going to go up to high rip current risk for tomorrow and Friday. We're a little concerned about Friday because the day will actually be a beautiful day. Folks may want to head to the beach, but we don't want you getting in the water because it will still be very churned up. And really, I don't know if I feel a little bit of guilt about all this, is that while folks off to our east are going to be dealing with a incredibly destructive storm, our weather is actually going to be pretty good. Scattered showers today, scattered showers Thursday. 1 or 2 rain bands could impact our far eastern counties, Santa Rosa County, Okaloosa County. But we won't get any significant weather. The only thing significant around here will be the high rip current risk. We just got to keep people out of the water. But then you look at the weather Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It'll be beautiful, really comfortable conditions, and looking really nice for our upcoming weekend. Once again, Helene is now a hurricane. If you missed the first part of this, Helene is a hurricane. It was just upgraded. It is strengthening quicker than what was originally anticipated, and the original forecast was for a rapidly intensifying hurricane. So we had a very aggressive forecast for it anyway, and it's beating the aggressive forecast. So it is very troubling. It's a very ominous looking storm. It's a very large storm already, and it's just going to get bigger. So be prepared. And that is Hurricane Helene. We'll keep you updated as the days go along. Once again, thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 10 News. All the latest on Helene throughout the day.